lit up pilots, welcome back to Motion RC Live. And today is the big day, the next big thing from Freewing. You see it on the table. It is Wonder Woman's invisible jet. And no, we're going to get to that in a second. Want to get more people in now that we are live. I see everybody going nuts in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. This should be a lot of fun. This entire episode is going to be dedicated to giving you all the information you're going to need to know on this beautiful bird that is coming. Now, I wanted to bring in, we have our senior manager, Alpha Enos. He is with us. Alpha, can you say hello?
Hello.
Can you talk a little more, say a little something about what, I'm excited. I know you're excited.
Yes.
Everyone at Motion, Alex is excited. Everyone at Motion RC is excited. And I just want to make sure they can hear you. They can hear your levels and everything. And then we'll be ready to go. So, Alpha, give us a little taste of...
Buckle up, my friends, and prepare for disappointment.
Yeah, I was like joking around like Thanos' snap. 50% of people are going to be happy, as always. 50% of people probably won't, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. You know, there's nothing to not absolutely love about what you're about to see. So, Alpha, should we get to it? Or do you want to say one last thing? A poem, a song, a dance?
No, let's do a jig for about 20 minutes, and then we'll go live with it. Now, I think we can safely say, I mean, to be clear, guys, ground rules. This is a Freewing announcement. This is a jet. There are other things coming down the pipe, as there always are. So this is going to be our jet announcement. And as always, this is the product of a couple years of development and work. In fact, go to Hobby Squawk. We're going to be posting some behind the scenes after this episode that talks a bit more about the origination of this airplane, why we chose to do it, sort of the hints all along the way that we would have done something like this, and shout outs to some of our customer family, which we know have been asking for something like this in this format, and it's really a bit of a love letter to those customers. And I think I'm going to keep talking actually for about another 15 or 20 minutes. I think, right? No one's really waiting.
Might as well. We know you can talk. What I will say though, guys, questions. You'll see the sidebar right now is question marks. There will be an entire question section. So right now the chat's going too crazy. It would be impossible. While we're going, we're going to give you a ton of information that you're going to have before we get to that question and answer section while we're here live. So, Alpha, are you ready?
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's time to go.
Should I hit play?
Maestro, take it away.
Here we go, boys.
With the next. And there she is in all her glory. It was hard enough to manipulate it on the table as is, but guys, this is the Freewing twin 80 millimeter MiG-29 Fulcrum in this awesome Slovak digital camo scheme. It's a beast, guys. What can I say? We got a chance to get it out for pictures, Alex and I. Patrick has flown it just a couple times. We wanted to make sure we had it, for the live show here. So we got about 3 or 4 flights on it the other day. So we didn't even get a chance to put it through all our paces ourselves, but that's what we're going to be doing over the course of the next week. The next chance we get, we're going back out to just go nuts on it. We wanted to keep flying it because it is so awesome. And guys, I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. I'm not even going to look at the chat, but Alpha, you know, thank you. Say thank you to everyone at Freewing. This thing is stunning. It's large in charge. It's about the biggest Freewing aircraft I've ever had on the table. You know, AL-37 aside, it's a little, you know, AL-37's thinner. This is a big, nice, you know, beast for people who've been asking for that big jet from Freewing for a while now.
Yeah, this is so here we go, guys. A bit of a, I'm going to start with a timeline. So maybe a lot of our customer family today doesn't really know the origins of Freewing. Over 11 years ago, Freewing's very first jet they ever made was a twin 64 millimeter Su-34. It was 1/16th scale. Then they made a twin 70 MiG-29 about 2010. That was a 1/15th scale. Then they made the Sukhoi 35, which we still have today. Another twin 70 at 1/14th scale. So we saw them getting gradually bigger, you know, 1/16, 1/15, 1/14. By the time we got involved, I said, look, let's pause all the smaller Soviet twins. We made the 1/9th scale MiG-21 in 2015. That was a great size. People really seemed to like the power plant in it, and the overall scale. It just fits really well. And so right around 2016, after the A-10, our twin 80 millimeter A-10, we thought, okay, F-14, A-10, the next twin 80 really needs to be something special, and probably not an American, since we did 2 Americans back to back. And so we decided to go back to the drawing board and make a MiG-29. So in 2016, of course, we thought, well, 80 millimeters are really where we think the future is for a growing portion of our customer base. And so we said, let's make it big. Let's make it the biggest Freewing airplane we've ever made. And that ended up in what's in front of you now. This is a 1/9th scale, 74-inch long MiG-29 Fulcrum, which is the same scale as our L-39, by the way.
We'll get to the size comparisons.
We've got a great size comparison coming for you guys, but this gives you an aircraft that is large, and yet my base metric for the family here today is this uses 2 of the T-33's in-runner power systems, but it is lighter than 2 T-33s. So for those of you who love the T-33 flight profile and how that in-runner power system really pushes that aircraft along, you have 2 of those in this airplane, even though this airplane is ever so slightly lighter than those 2. So we'll get into the wing loading and more deep dive into the specs in Hobby Squawk after this. So I encourage everyone, as always, dive into Hobby Squawk.
Yeah, but, product page is going to be going live, as soon as it can. It's one of those things very hard to time with a live show, so just keep your eye on it. By the time we're done with this video, it'll probably be up. But we want to keep it here. So you see,
as of right now. So stay in the show with us, guys. You're gonna get
stay with us. We're gonna be going because again, guys, you see the sidebar. Come back to me a second, Alex. So guys, you see our sidebar on the on the side. We're gonna run through the spec now. I'll talk about that. We're gonna go through all the features because this baby has a lot of awesome features. Then we're gonna take you back. We're gonna take you back in time to the unboxing. We're gonna show you the assembly. All these videos will be coming next week. We're going to show you one of the full flights from Patrick Crosdale, Major Patrick Crosdale. I wanted him to fly it first. And then we're going to do a size contrast. I got a few of the birds that were mentioned right around me that I can grab, put up. Then we're going to get to the Q&A. So I've been seeing people ask questions. What's a wingspan? What's this? What's that? Save it. We're going to answer every single question we possibly can. By the time we get there, if there are still unanswered questions when we get there, I will open it up to you guys for questions, and then when that time comes, I'm going to ask you guys just throw in a bunch of emojis in front of your questions so Alex can see them. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But then right at the end, you see the design behind the scenes. I'm excited for Alpha to talk about that too. So we're going to be here for a while today. It's worth it. I think it's worth it. And again, guys, we didn't put a lens on where we're going to go around this one. It's just so hard to manipulate on the table, like to think that I'm going to pick this up and move it around. I'm afraid of knocking pitot tubes off and whatnot. It's going to, I'll turn it a little bit, but for the most part, we've already filmed all that stuff. So, bear with us. Let's get back to that spec page, though. I'll quickly read it out for anyone who, isn't getting it. Again, wingspan, guys, about 50 inches. That's what you're looking at, 1257 on the wingspan. So compare it to other jets, it's large. 73.93, almost 74 inches long. Guys, I'm 6 foot. This stands over me when it's nose to top. We'll show you some pictures in a second. It's large. So you can see that again, as Alpha said, the T33 power system times 2. So the 1920 kV in-runner, 2 100 amp ESCs with a 5 amp BEC, 2 80 millimeter fans with 9 blades on them, and then the servos, you're getting 17 gram, 9 of them, digital metal gear servos throughout, and then just 2 9 grams for the scale sequence doors that we're going to get to in a second. And then the foam, as you'd expect, is this beautiful EPO, and the scheme is already applied.
Yeah, the thunder. I love
out
it.
of the box. It looks unbelievable, so again,
Here's the comparison pic.
I'm speechless. Here's the comparison pic. Probably the coolest thing. That's the real one on the bottom right, and that's our model on the top left. So, I mean,
yep.
Unreal. And you're getting the ordnance package
in a few minutes, but let's sit now on the scale. Yeah, you're right. Let me jump in here, James. So what you guys are looking at here, I love this photo. I can't tell you how many times we flew the airplane to try and match the specific reference photo I had provided, but this shows you the real MiG-29 that's out in the world today, and then our model. So we really tried to nail scale fidelity and the digital camo. This is the world's first digital camo. Freewing we've always loved our camo aircraft, especially with the Soviet-designed birds, from the splinter camo of the Su-35, the fractal camo of the blue variant. This is really digital camo. We've been playing with the idea over the past couple years now with using decals, as we've seen on the F-35 and the F-22, to really increase the color depth of the aircraft, right? So looking at those airplanes, which are typically just gray, trying to make them more appealing and more visually distinct. So the digital camo is something that gravitated towards us. It's something we've never done. It's something I don't think anyone has ever fully delivered in this type of camo. So we had to do it. But overall, we also decided to, aside from just matching scale outline, our first twin 80, the F-14, did not include the ordnance. So this, like the A-10, includes removable ordnance all the way around. So, but when you're
removable pylons,
yeah, and removable
too.
pylons,
so
right?
It's all the MWS
That
railing.
sounds like we're getting into the features.
So you can mix, match, manipulate. Awesome 6 times, which is fantastic. I love the ordnance on it.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yep. All right. So, listening to him again, I love it. Now let's move on to the features. So this is some of the stuff you'll see on the webpage when it comes out, but we could talk about these. So let's get to number 1. Again, Alpha just did that bold, eye-catching scheme. It really looks good sitting out in the sun. I will say, though, guys, with darker paint, obviously, bubbling, things like that, keep it out of the sun if you can, as long as you can. But overall, it looks fantastic in the air. It's really, it's eye-catching. But this is my favorite one, the size of it. So here's a picture of me with it. And, I'm not small, I don't think, but it is unbelievable in its size. You're going to be manipulating this, 2 hands always. This is not usually, even with like the F-22, I could pick it up with 1 hand and move on, but
not with this one.
You're not doing that with this one. This is a nice 2 hands, solid, and it's so impressive at the field. So again, 75 inches long. We've got, then you got this picture that we showed, which again, the scale fidelity of it, that picture is just awesome. But then getting to the power system, you can see from behind the twin nozzles, and we'll talk more about some excitement there too a little later on. So approaching, you said about 120 miles per hour, Alpha?
Yeah, so we're using, again, a lot of questions in chat about power plant. This uses 2 in-runners. So it's 2 T-33 in-runners. And obviously, because it's 2 T-33 in-runners, you're going to need 2 T-33 batteries. So the battery that you're flying in your T-33, we know there's a lot of you out there flying T-33s and Avantis and L-39s. This uses the in-runner power set from those aircraft, and the MiG is a bit lighter than two T-33s. So, two in-runners, as you see here. A couple of scale features we'll talk about a bit later as we're doing some walk-around footage. But one thing I really am proud of is we canted the burner cans outwards, just like the real thing, and did some aerodynamic adjustments to the airframe so that it behaves a bit more like the real thing, which is exciting. You can actually see, looking down the pipe in this shot, how the burner cans and the bells of the motors are not on axis. So there are reasons that we do all of that. There's reasons why the real one has it. There's sort of reasons why we're able to adapt that to the real thing. But no, these are 6S in-runners, 4,000, two 4,000 batteries up to your 6,000s or what have you. I like it on two 4,000s.
Yeah, we flew it and we got close. We were pushing
80 millimeter. T-33 is an 80 millimeter jet.
Yeah, we were pushing. So we flew it the other day. We did 3, maybe 4 flights. I think 3. And we did it on 4,000s. We did it on the 5100 carbons, and we did it on 6,000s. And it flew great on all of them, and they all fit nicely. Actually, Alex, if you want to come back to me real quick, I could just pop the canopy and show you guys. I have 2 batteries in here already, but check that out. There are, and we'll get to this in a sec, but there are 3 compartments. So depending on your battery variations, there's 3 straps included. So with the 5100 carbons, but look how high that sits.
Hey,
off,
James,
and the way.
Can you tip that rearward wing up a little bit just to give us a maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Higher angle.
It's hard to see. I can't zoom in on there, but you're looking at 1 carbon back here, 1 carbon here. You got your blue box, great spacing for receiver, things like that. I actually have my receiver tucked away on the side. Then you got a whole front compartment, and we'll get to the assembly. This is a 2-piece fuselage, and this is where you glue it together, right here. But awesome, the manipulation. And I love one thing, Alpha, one of the features that's small. I just love the way they gave you, hard to see on here, but I could put my fist inside the canopy, so you got all that height to cover your battery. That's what I loved. I remember when we put it up there, I'm like, is this going to be able to close? But no problem with a big, and the 5100's about our thickest pack that we got, and that fits in there like a glove. And I liked the flight. I think that was some of the clips Alex showed was from that 5100 flight. I like the juice of the 70C, but the 4000s we saw it was much more lighter. That's where you're going to get aerobatic,
Yeah.
Especially with that high alpha stuff.
We put in 5,000s and thick 6,000s, and that's fine. Like the F-14, I designed that aircraft for a 4,000, so you don't need to put a big battery in it. I'll just say it now. We do have since people are asking in chat, we do have a 3D thrust vectoring upgrade for the aircraft.
Ooh, he said it. He said it.
Yeah, I can let everyone know now. You've been with us for 20 minutes. We'll be dropping little Easter eggs throughout the show. So for those of you who made it this far, there is a 3D printed 360 or 180 degree axis thrust vectoring power set that's being offered for this aircraft as an upgrade. So out of the box, it looks just like this. They are not thrust vectoring, just your in-runners. And like I said with the F-22, people didn't believe me at the time, but they do now. That F-22 does not need thrust vectoring to be flown very, very acrobatically. So it is with this MiG-29. We can achieve very, very steep high alpha. Any snap roll you want to do, approaching the Cobra type maneuvers without thrust vectoring. So that's what the PNP is out of the box. It gives us a wide flight envelope without getting too crazy on cost and complexity. But we know there are people out there who are really going to want a TV set, and so we've made that. We've designed that as well. We're going to be posting more about that on Hobby Squawk. So again, you got to be in Hobby Squawk, and we're going to be posting it there before we put it live on the website in about a month.
Yeah, and you get to talk directly to Alpha, me, Todd, all our CS guys. Everybody's from Motion RC is roaming around Hobby Squawk, and we'll obviously be on there a lot in the coming days and weeks talking about this.
20 minutes, guys. You're going to have to stay for that one.
Yep. Go back to the features. So we did the loads of power. Grass op. So guys, the gear, huge tires, huge, oleos throughout. And the best is that we'll get to the twist and turn retracts, but big tires, this baby's not going to have any problem getting off a majority. Now, again, not all grass is the same, but a majority of grass fields, you're going to be more than fine flying this bad boy off of. And you got the nose light down there. And then this is one of my favorite features, the twist and turn retracts. So you've got the sequence door, the gear. They will twist and turn. Again, I'm not trying to pick this up and do it here. We will show video in a little bit of it happening. But the twist and turn retracts, and then the door sequence closed to give you more aerodynamics. And, something that I think probably the biggest call out I see on like the Tomcat, is that they're not hidden tires. But, again, you see the history and you move, and you see that they take everything into account.
The F-14 had that swinging wing box, and we couldn't the mains up into the wing box, into the wing root, or the glove as it's called, because of the thickness of the wheel. With this aircraft, it's something that we could do. So we worked really hard to try and figure out how to fit it, and that's actually one of the factors that drove making the aircraft larger. We wanted to be able to tuck the mains completely up into the aircraft. You'll see that later when we show you the full flight, guys, but it's a clean profile as it's whizzing past you at 100 plus miles an hour. I should say now as well, when we're talking about features, that the undercarriage is also all new. It's larger. This is a larger airplane, and we just about hit the threshold where we decided to create an entirely new SKU of electric retracts. So this is larger than your A10 retract. It's larger than the F-14's twin 80 millimeter retract. This is a big, beefy retract unit with the suspension struts, and so we really shouldn't have too many problems bringing the aircraft off of or onto unprepared surfaces.
And then that gives people more options to add those retracts to other planes, because that's what people do, when something else comes out. Again, now moving on, we have the ordnance removable pylons. You see them there, guys. You're getting 6 of those, so 6 pylons and 6. Why am I forgetting off the top of my head? What are the ordnance arms?
So, the ordnance. So the most important was the Archer, which is
Archer. That's it.
Yeah, we're showing the N74 variation, but the R73 variation of the missile that you see here on the right, that's essentially Soviet Sidewinder, and you'll see on Hobby Squawk when I break out the key for my riddle that I posted last night. We're talking about the Archer. The Archer was a missile that was regarded as a lot of Western pilots as being, if you're within the MiG-29s and the Archer's range in a close-in dogfight, it was superior to what the West was fielding. West Germany flew MiG-29s, and so we had Western NATO pilots flying this aircraft against their own F-16s saying, that thing's better. Now, once you got beyond visual range, the advantage shifted back towards the West. But there's 4 Archers on the aircraft, and then 2 8s as well, the 2 twin missiles.
Nice. All right, moving on. Again, the large battery space, a little better of a shot. This is when we just took it outside. I didn't have it really mounted, but you could see this is the 5000s sitting inside of it. In the front compartment, the forwardmost compartment on the left, and the rear compartment. But again, there is a strap right on the top in the middle. I mean, the canopy itself probably eats about almost half the length of the jet, So the battery space is, is significant, and good cockpit detail inside as well. Mostly plastic in there, which is great too. Moving on, again, the wide stance with the durable gear. Unbelievable how simply this thing just lifted off the runway. You'll see during the first flight. We'll eventually post Patrick's maiden, because that's when we're all tense and just make sure but the second it took off, there were just some of those aircraft. I remember with the F-22 where you're just like, oh, this thing's locked in, like an Avanti or an L-39. From the moment it lifts off the runway, it looks light, it feels light, and very durable gear to land on. This thing can float in. Actually, Patrick was having, again, when you're doing those first flights, he was just experimenting with how slow he can actually bring it in. And he, after the third flight, he's like, I could get it so much slower, there you go. You got the full flaps.
Yeah, she creeps in. Let's go back to that forward on photo Alex, to just talk a bit about the wing
wide
layout.
stance photo.
Oh, yeah, the wide stance dead-on photo, because we can see a bit of the anhedra we've got going in the wing. So to James' observation there about how they're watching the aircraft fly, I'm excited about the MiG because when Freewing did one, again, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, they learned a lot about the characteristics of a MiG. There are small things that this aircraft sort of offers that really add up to an excellent maneuverable envelope. It's often reputed that close in, it's more maneuverable than an F-16. It's a big sort of twin. It looks like it's a big draggy airframe, but in fact they're incredibly maneuverable. Part of the factors that lend to that are like the anhedral on the wings, the layout and cant of the exhaust nozzles and of the vertical stabilizers. So a lot of those traits you can see in this photo. A lot of those traits we tried to bake into this airplane, so it flies like a classic MiG-29. Very maneuverable, very stable on its side, and as you said, super easy to land. Lands like an F-22 with wider.
So a quick question: does it have a gear door on the nose? It does. It does have a gear door on the nose. It's not sequence. It's spring loaded.
Video of all the features.
Yeah, throw the video of those features so people can see. So everything we just spoke about on the features, guys. This is when we unboxed it, and we're finishing up our build video after the new set last week. So this is all happening, in the background of everything else that was happening. You can see me push down on the aircraft. I mean, nice.
Stroke suspension struts as well. These have long travel, so you see the ground clearance as well. We shouldn't have
it sits high.
Enough of grass. Removable ordnance, which is nice. Air Guardian, she's just under the weight of two T-33s. What are about 12 pounds?
With batteries, 9.5, 9 something without, right? I believe is what you said.
Yeah, she's about 9.2 empty, and then add batteries to that. 9.2 pounds. Add your batteries.
Again, and I'm only answering questions right now because I'm looking at it. But if I see one, I'll answer it quick if it caters to what we're talking about here. But again, we have a whole section coming up where you can ask away. So you do have wingtip lights. So you got your nav lights on the wingtips and your nose gear light. And then this is just me wiggling the surfaces. But I like how the nose gear light also, it's on the arm, so it turns nice and bright.
Yep, plastic capped intakes as well for durability. So like some of our.
There's the gear.
Oh, look at the gear.
Twist and turn, and then you wait a couple seconds, and boop, and it is clean. Clean.
Yeah, this was our first twin 80mm aircraft with full coverage gear doors. So all three are covered up.
Which country, Mateo? The country is a Slovak scheme, right?
Yeah,
so Slovakian scheme.
Yeah, digital metal gear servos are 17-gram DMGs all around the aircraft. The only 9 grams on the aircraft are for the gear doors, for the two main
gear doors. Yeah. Which you even put a 17-gram on the steering, which is awesome.
Most aircraft have 9 gram on steering. We put a 17 in there. The comment about the nose gear brace. If designed right, as this is, you don't need to rely on that brace.
If you're hitting your nose down on a Delta jet first, then there are other issues there. This should be easily to touch down on all your mains. And I didn't get a chance to personally fly it myself yet, but watching Patrick fly it, I'm 100% confident that I'm going to have no problem with it either. It's just a big baby. And from flying now, a lot of the Black Horse, the bigger, just flies better. It's just true. So you guys are going to love the way. Like, this is, I'm not going to say it's beginner, maybe not a first jet, but
it's not your first jet. But if you've flown an L39, an Avanti, a T-33, an F-22.
If you're good with a sync rate on the throttle, if you understand that, you need throttle to land, then you're going to be just fine, just fine, and have a whole lot of fun, and it's going to be the best looking thing at the runway for sure. So you saw all the features on that video, so I say let's take it out of the box. So let's go back in time to our unboxing. So I didn't have this was an early production, so I didn't have the box art, which I'm sure is going to look in the white like Freewing, unless they decide to change it completely for something different, but I'm assuming it's going to look similar. But when you get everything out of the box, and this is just a time lapse of me, you'll be impressed again, sort of the way I was with the AL-37, how it all fits in the size box it is. You see each wing come out, and we have, we'll get to shots of everything, as it comes out. But the way they package these things is always a feat in of itself. Just to make a jet, you got to figure out then how to make it all fit and make it fit properly where you're not getting any damage. But you see the bottom's where all the good stuff is, the two verts down there, and then the big honking part of the fuselage which has all the weight. So, your main portion of your fuselage is going to have all your gear in there, your motors, your ESC, everything, and, the decals already out.
You're right, William. The box is as interesting as the airplane.
It is. I mean, some people, like, if you wanted to take, because this is a mostly screw-together airframe, well, I guess no, because you have to glue in the fuse, so you can't use the box. But some planes, you could almost use the box as a travel if you wanted to really keep it tight.
Yeah, exactly. And you notice the long nose cone, there's about 8 inches of nose cone there, guys, so that brings you under 6 foot length. And with the wings off, you're just wider than an F-22. So as far as transport, if you're transporting an F-15 and you got a few inches higher and wider and longer, which most of us will have in a given car, you shouldn't have too many issues transporting the airplane. It is, to be clear, our biggest jet from Freewing.
So I got your standard town and country type minivan, and I was able to lay it on its, with the gear up, lay it down, completely assembled in there and go to the field. So it fits through the back door, side to side, perfectly. And I do like how the bottom is more flat, where you're not gonna. Yeah, there's no antennas or anything on the bottom that are gonna catch either, which I like. So you can lay it down. Some aircraft have the antenna you forget about underneath, and such. But back to the nose cone, quick, Alpha. I did like how you included the wood piece, so it's magnetically driven, but also the wood piece just to give it that extra stabilization. Something that I remember with the F-22, I made a manipulation there just to, secure it even better.
Yeah, definitely.
Now this is a twin 80, Bobby's Hobbies, twin 80 millimeters, so it's bigger than your 90.
We had done the twin 70. We went the twin 70 route with the Su-35. And a single 90 in the F-22. We'll show you guys in a few minutes, so stay with us, what this aircraft looks like against a single 90 F-22. This one's big. This is literally our longest aircraft from Freewing.
Ball links on all the control horns. Everything will look familiar to you if you've ever assembled an F-22 or, a good majority of the recent Freewing birds.
Yep. The nice thing you mentioned at the top of the show, James, near the top, we've been doing this for a while now, guys. So with each aircraft, we're listening to you on Hobby Squawk. We're getting your feedback. We're flying these things hundreds of times ourselves and really getting comfortable with where the aircraft is, where it plots on our portfolio of aircraft. What is offered? What are the customer getting for the money? How they perform, what's included. People saying, we want in-runners and everything. Okay, so there's in-runners and everything now. People saying, we need to fly on grass. Okay, suspension struts, oversized wheels, that sort of thing. The fidelity and the scale fidelity, people saying, you're making a lot of American aircraft. We'd like to see something from Europe. Motion RC Europe has frankly exploded. There are a lot of people we know there who love Freewing aircraft and love the level of service that Motion RC can offer for our product line. And so, all of that comes together to create this aircraft. This is just the latest one, and hopefully the next one is even better, and the next one is even better than that.
Because there's always a next one. Because there's always a next one.
We saw very quickly the intakes, and again, it's difficult to maneuver this aircraft real time, guys, because it is so large. But there's a NACA inlet rather than the cheater grate or grill that we use on, for example, the F-14. It's more aerodynamic. It allows us to ingest additional air as needed when you're at a certain angle at high alpha. But other than that, when you're, say, on wet grass, it's not directly under the belly sucking up, grass clippings. So those type of quality of life upgrades are things that is really driven by the customer saying, we fly like this. We need the next plane to be like this. So.
And if you were going to take off from high grass, what I like is, too, you put the plastic on the intakes. So it's completely, those square intakes have plastic all around. So if you do catch grass, it's not going to be eating your foam,
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice. But I wouldn't suggest, if you're taking off a grass that's touching your inlets or wingtip, I would not fly off of that.
Exactly.
But here it is, guys. I mean, this is fresh out of the box. Again, hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing. Again, price is already out there. People answer some questions that we will get to. Web page is live, but look at the bottom. I mean, just nice and clean. 2 very easy access to your motors. And you see those little NACA inlets there that Alpha was talking about. They're on the sides of the intakes. And then that's just looking down the aft portion. Actually, we put a Eagle gyro underneath that tray in the back, so it's right near the CG. And
as a modern aircraft, a lot of people, we recognize people are flying gyros out there. The Admiral stabilized gyro is one of our most popular, and so as a comparison to the Su-35, there's one battery crammed up in there. It's very difficult to find a place where to put it and where to put your radio gear. So with this one, James, if you maybe would remove the turtle deck again, and we can see, you have what amounts to almost half of the length of the aircraft.
I mean, look at that. I'm
Direct
6 foot.
Your battery.
That's just the.
Yeah, and all your
that's the canopy.
The arrow that's near the CG. There's a platform for that. So we're really trying to think through this and think what customers are flying today, and giving easy access to your avionics.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I'm not going to take my batteries out at this juncture, but I will plug it in a little later because again the lights will pop on. But like I have my satellite here, Admiral receiver 10 channel back here, and the gyro's underneath, so it'll be underneath the battery with space there. So that was the unboxing. Might as well get into the assembly. Let's just keep this moving.
Assembly.
So assembly is, again, first thing you're going to do, guys, right out of the box, and I guess I'll walk you through this as usual, and we'll have this video separate real soon. But you want to score the sides. So that's the only part. It's a 2-piece fuselage. So the first things first, I get that glued, and I let gravity do the work. So I score each side. Wherever I see foam's going to meet foam, and I use the glue that comes with it. That Freewing glue is awesome, just as good as foam tack. I use it for everything. Get it on the carbon spars. I put it everywhere because I want to make sure that that's not going to move. And what I liked about this too, they give you 4 plastic pieces that help further, again, reinforce, and they're painted exactly like the sides of the model. That just adds an extra level of reinforcement. So you got the carbon spars, you got your glue, and then even the battery tray, because you're going to have the battery tray there, crosses those 2 planes, those 2 pieces. So that's added reinforcement there in the nose, which is awesome.
Those help with alignment. This isn't a load-bearing surface, so we typically use just the beacon stuff with the Freewing out-of-the-box glue, but those little plastic tabs will keep you nice and aligned.
Yeah, and they fit on only one way, but they are labeled right and left on the top ones. You can see there, so very simple to get this together. And this is the only part. Once I did this, I put it on its nose upside. I lay it up on its nose, and I walk away for about 15 minutes. Just let it get to the point. I never glue onto fuselage horizontally, just in case they fall and stuff. I don't want to have to be tearing it apart to do it again. But then you're going to get your 3rd tray. The other 2 already will be there. So you're just going to put that in, and then you're good. Then we move to the back. The next step is going to be, you want to get those elevators on, your full horizontal stabs. So you see here, the baggie. This is what gives you basically everything that you're going to need for this. And there are your rods and what are those O-rings, that what you call them? Those
Sure.
Like those circular, that's what helps to just protect your elevator from pulling off. But you can see the tongue and groove. You got the 2 grooves on the horizontal spar, if you will, on the elevator spar. And that is where, the screws are going to, catch this spar so it doesn't come out. You know, it doesn't back out. It's 2 screws into plastic piece on the back. Yep. So again, if you wanted further reinforcement on this, you could put a little foam tack there. Do not use thread locker whenever you're meeting metal to plastic. It will eat your plastic. You only use thread locker, the blue stuff, if it's metal to metal. So here, I just make it secure, and then your elevator swings on that arm. So again, you'll see, I think I dry fit it at this point, and it fits as you'd expect. But then you take the little O-ring and the little screw they give you. I put it in just enough that it can slide over, makes your life easier. And then when you put it in, that's what's helped preventing anything from falling out and backing out. And now where am I now? Okay, so then you did both your elevators, so you do that to 2 sides. Now you're going to your verts. Very simply, you're plugging in the servo as you'd expect. Check your polarity. Make sure that goes, and then it's all plastic. You line it up. I think there's 3 pieces of plastic that, you know, help give it secure, and then you're going to use these screws, 3, I believe, on each vert. I forget. 1. I think it might be 2. Just 2 screws on each side. Get those screwed in nice and tight. And again, super simple, super clean. You know, it goes together. Then you're going to your main wing. You got your tube, your spar. Place that through. And the wings are just 2 screws, guys. They look different than any other Freewing screws I've seen, though. They're actually longer heads to get up in there. It's almost like they screw through the mount and then back up into the wing, which is really cool feature. But it's just a ribbon cable here. So you just meet your ribbon connection. It only fits one way. Line up the 2 plastic bits. And then you're just going to slot it on, and it is flush. And this is unlike the AL37. You don't have to have the gear door dropped or anything. It'll just fit on there perfectly. But you see the screws, they only have threading on the bottom portion of the screw. So it goes right up and through. So you could actually unscrew it and then unscrew it again, which is kind of crazy. But it's awesome. But I love the way it looks. So then this was me just, you know, getting the 10 channel plugged in. And this, again, this whole video is going to be way more in detail. We'll have a whole separate video of the build. And then obviously this week when we get out with Patrick and fly it again, I'm going to fly it. We're going to have multiple flight videos coming soon. Oh, but I do like, Alpha, you put the carbon around the elevator. Any reasoning for that?
Yeah, so with an aircraft this large, you know, on Hobby Squawk, I'll be posting a bit more of the behind-the-scenes design aspects of the aircraft. But suffice to say, with the elevator post itself, the axle for the post, and the servo, they're all united by a single plastic box. And we wanted to add as much rigidity as we could to the system. So we've done this on certain aircraft in the past where needed. In this case, we thought it made sense. So the carbon tube that then caps your control rods for the elevator are just going to help, again, resist any twisting or any bending during a 100+ mile an hour high alpha on a 12-pound airplane.
Yeah. So now then you get, once you have the wings on, the verts, and the horizontal stabs, your aircraft's mostly complete. It comes down to your peripherals. So that's, again, dropping your ordnance on. As you see, there's maybe 2, I think there's only 3 little antenna. 1 that goes on the canopy itself, and then 2, we found it goes on the back of the ducts, like towards the back on the top. But we got to film that, Alex. That was actually, we had those 2 pieces.
We did find where those went.
Patrick found where they were in about a second. So then you see your nose cone. So they give you this wooden plate. I glued it in. So now it just lives with the nose cone. And, you know, but this aircraft, I actually been standing this one up on its, you know, without the nose cone on. I just put a piece of foam down on the ground and lean it against the wall. I find it's one of those, I like to hang aircraft. This one's not really conducive to hanging with the ring root glove and everything. Bungees on it, not my thing. So I'm going to have to make probably have to make myself a special storage spot. Got the pitot tube, and then, yeah,
we're pretty much at the
and
end
then
of the
your
video
canopy
here.
pops right in. I mean, at this point, guys, you will be good to go. And just follow, obviously, the manual is going to have where your control rods, but I believe the majority was 1-to-1 on everything. So it was very simple, because the ball links are already on the control horns, so you're just worried about where you're putting your rod in your servo.
Yep. And that's about it, actually.
Yeah, it's a very, very simple construction.
foot long airplane. It's very simple. Should be
very simple. I'm just moving this back a bit because it loses. It's so big. It's so big. I'm putting the canopy back on. We'll get to it in a second. All right, so are we ready to see a flight? So the flight you were about to see was Patrick, I believe, his third flight and probably the last one. So again, he didn't get a chance to explore. We weren't trying to be dangerous yet, you know, the full envelope, but you guys are going to see an honest, raw flight. And take it away, Alex.
Quick question, do you guys want to talk during it, or do you want them just to hear the plane?
They should just hear the plane.
All right.
Because we weren't talking we didn't do a flight review yet. You know, I want Patrick to have a good 10, 12, 15 flights on it before we,
all right.
You know.
Here we go, guys. Live, full flight.
But here you go, boys. Taking out right there. So there you have it, guys. That was Major Patrick Crowsdale, feeling the bird out. And, it's unbelievable to hear it, to see it in the air. Alex and I were both on cameras for these, and that's the way we're going to be it. I'm not going to fly it till we have everything canned, and then I can't wait to fly it, though. I'm so pumped to get my hands behind the sticks. So now I just want to say we're past the midpoint. Anybody just joining us, you see the sidebar. This video is going to replay as soon as we're done live, because right now we're alive. So when you're watching the replay, that red bar, you could just skim through the video to get to all the questions that a lot of people are asking. Battery size, all that stuff's already been answered. That's all up there. The product page is now live. This video will live forever, out there for you guys to re-watch and, and see. So just to let you guys know. And we do have a question section coming up after this next portion where I have a few of the birds that we mentioned here, and it's time for a size comparison. So let me grab the L39 because that is one of our 9th scale birds. So it is same scale. It's an 80 millimeter, and now I believe the L39 comes with the same power system that, the T-33 has and the MiG has, but it looks like a baby's toy.
It really does. It looks so small.
If you want the man's plane, you fly the MiG.
I mean, I love the L39. The L39 was at the time was one of our bigger 80s, right? That was our 90 millimeter size aircraft with an 80 millimeter power plant. So, as far as value, guys, these aircraft are the same relative scale to each other. They're both right at 1/9, give or take. And so you can imagine,
like that's the nose up to the tube, and that's the butt. So elevator to elevator, it's significantly larger than the L39, which I love. I actually just flew, if you guys saw weeks back, I painted one up like Batman because something about the L39, I had a crash one. So I made a bat wing and just flew it the other day when I was warming up on that in between flights on the MiG. And we'll show you that. I love the way the L39 flies. Such a great plane. So that was the L39 MiG. I got the MiG-29. And this leads to, Alpha, we had spoken about, the teases. Like, obviously, we got a new power system in the MiG-29, so it's worth it for us to take it back out and update the videos. But, why would we be doing a MiG-29? And then last week I unboxed the TV Twin 70 Russian Su-35. Like, the teases have all been there, guys. You guys just don't read between the lines. But now these are both 1/9 scale. So, MiG to MiG, I mean, unbelievable. Just in the size, it's like...
Yeah, a lot of our European birds tend to be 1/9. So the MiG's going to be one of the bigger birds. We'll show the 90 millimeter F-22 here in a minute, Surya. But that's a 1/12 scale aircraft. But you can see between the L-39 and the MiG-29, people wanted bigger, so we made bigger.
Yep. It's awesome. So there you have it on the MiG. Let me put this back away. And then the F-22 is the only other one I have available at the moment to do. But you guys jump on Hobby Squawk, and we will, I'll compare it to whatever else I got.
They definitely could barely hear you talking to the other room.
Sorry. It takes a second to lay this down. Let me grab the 22. Now, last thing I want to do is break any of my aircraft trying to manipulate around this thing. Let me grab the nose. Sorry. Wrong way. And boom. So the F-22, similar bodied aircraft, if you will. But that's the 90 millimeter F-22. So guys, I mean, it's, again, I can manipulate the 22. I pick my 22 up with one hand all the time when I'm moving it around or taking it to the field. I'm not really doing that with the MiG-29. It's the biggest jet Freewing's ever made, and I hope it's something you guys are gonna love it.
Yeah,
anyone who appreciates
shot of them together too
jets,
from our build video.
Yeah, there's another one from the side. Again, trying to manipulate it here on a live show is just, I don't want you guys to see me fumbling around with everything. But there it is, guys.
Show it next to the airliner. We need
Yeah.
a bigger studio to do that, buddy.
Yeah. I need more space to do that. You know, the airliner is going to be comparable, but it's a totally different size of airframe, you know. The airliner is going to be long, but thin wing, totally different. Like, we want to compare it to something that was wide body, like the F-15 has a similar shape to it, 22 has a similar shape to it. You know, but then those 1/9 scale birds. So if you like having, especially if you get the MiG-29, you almost got to have a MiG-21 just to have them next to each other. You know, just the history goes through. You know, the history. I was watching a lot of MiG-29 stuff over the while. You know, this bird's been flying since, what, 77, I think it took its maiden flight, you know, and there's still, last I checked, there's something like 700 plus still out there in the world flying around, and one that looks just like this, so.
The MiG-29, I mean, she's younger than the F-15, you know, and the F-14, entering service in 81, so 39 years ago, and is still in service in 20 plus countries today. I think 26 operators are running
I saw the real life bird, the fuel tank is very small compared to like an F-16 or something. That's where it really
the MiG-29,
but like you said, it's close combat. Like,
she was in combat, defense. She wasn't a long-range seek and destroy, not really optimized for BVR, beyond visual range combat. This is in the mix, over East German airspace, for example. That's where the aircraft really excelled. You're up, you're defending, you're down. You really didn't have a lot of range, even with that gas bag in the center.
Yeah, there I am holding it. Again, I'm 6 foot tall, even with my sneakers on.
I want this shot.
You know, like
even bigger.
I'm like, it's, you know, it's a big bird. And then holding it though, I do like from behind. You could grab the intakes, and hold it nice and easy that way. But you know, unbelievable in the size. It's great to have something big. Obviously, the AL-37 was big to manipulate, but easier in a way to pick up because it's just longer and, you know, lighter. This is awesome though. This is rugged. This is, you know, attack, like, you know, something completely different with the flying capability. Like we could see, Patrick could already tell he knows what it's going to be able to do. I just didn't let him open it up yet, so that's there. So I think we are at the questions point in our video, guys. So you saw now the spec. We went through the features. We went through an unboxing, an assembly. We got the size comparison. So now you have Alpha's ear. Anything you think we missed that you still want to know. What I want you to do, pick any emoji, throw a couple of emojis out there, ask your question, and Alex and me are going to be looking at the screen, trying to grab some questions because Alpha can talk, but we'd like this to more be rapid fire, so I'll ask Alpha to not go into too much detail before.
First, I'm looking at Jeremy Sean. You're asking, do we really think this is grass capable? Short answer, absolutely.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be?
All of our aircraft in this size range are grass capable. This one was specifically designed, we talked about the NACA ducks earlier, to be able to take off and land confidently on your average grass field. That anything that you're going to operate any of our current aircraft on, you would be able to operate this aircraft on.
Look at that. It's a beast. It's a beast. And I just got to tilt it up on one to give you guys a better view.
Bruno Suarez asking, is this flight performance similar to the F-15 or the Mirage? It's closer to a big Mirage. This is a fast plane that can slow down and do high alpha. It's a bit like a faster F-22, if I needed to put any sort of aircraft on it. If you've flown an F-22 as far as its wing loading and its power to thrust ratio, thrust to weight ratio, it's going to be closer to something like that. It flies a bit like a cozy sport jet. Max Throttle asking about thrust vectoring option. Again, you want to log into Hoppy Squawk and follow the thread there because we're going to be posting about the optional, separate from the PNP, the optional upgrade, which is a 3D thrust vectoring power set that we're going to be selling for the aircraft. I shouldn't say power set. It's really just the burner cans. We specifically designed this airplane. In some of these photos, you notice that there's a seam line where the foam, the stock foam burner cans are molded and glued into the aircraft. Well, you basically just pop that off, slice and pop that off, and plug in these nozzles. And the nozzle set have places for servos. It's basically a drag and drop set that'll allow you to have full thrust vectoring on the aircraft. Again, to be clear, guys, that is not in the PNP. That is an upgrade based on some of our customer feedback asking us. They didn't want to have to, everyone needs to pay for it up on the front with the PNP, but some of you out there we know have asked for this sort of thing. And so stay tuned for that.
Okay, so somebody just at the top, he asked, do the main gear doors close when the gears are out? No, they don't go up when the gear is down. They only go up when the gear is up.
Yes.
Yep.
They're single stage doors. So single stage means door down, gear out, door stays down, gear up, door closes.
But if that's something I forgot on the blue box, can I put it in a different spot or no?
You could, yeah. So the
can.
Single and dual stage, you know,
so
we like them.
You can put it
cool
in
with the
there,
door.
but
did a lot of work.
I think it's cooler with the doors out. You know, like you know, when they're coming down.
Out the camo is water slide decals.
Yes.
So lay flat.
Pre-applied.
Yeah, the vinyl would be too thick, and the paint obviously would not be as sharp. And there's probably 800 or more little boxes. So these are water slide decals, so you can be assured that the detail is sharp. There's no overspray with paint or anything like that. And because they're water slide, not vinyl, they're flush to the surface of the aircraft. For those of you who want to repaint the airplane, just paint right over it. It's not a thick vinyl detail. It's a thin water slide decal. Other questions scrolling through here. Yeah, Tailorons. The aircraft can be flown on Tailorons if you want to do that. We've set it up as a simple aircraft. It's aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder, flaps. So standard 5-channel receiver, just like any of our aircraft, really. 6 with gear. And very simple. You don't need to do any additional mixing if you want to. Surya asking, is there an ARF option? Yes, you want to check the website.
Yes.
We have
There's an ARF Plus and a PMP, so anybody who wants to try a turbine or...
turbines, again, liability. Turbines are on you guys, but we can say that I think it's no secret by now, because this aircraft uses the T-33 Inrunner's power systems, its ducting is essentially identical aft of the EDF to the T-33. So spacing, sizing, all that is good to go. Anyone putting in a turbine will obviously want to jump into Squawk and follow along, because there are a couple of quirks, such as the fact that we did cant the exhaust nozzles outwards, just like the real MiG-29. Give it a bit more stability when it's on its side. Top Dog asking about installing a Powerbox Pioneer. There's as large a space in the middle, as we showed earlier in the show, between the two batteries for the gyro and your avionics. I don't know the exact dimensions of a Powerbox Pioneer, but suffice to say, as large as that space can be, it is. And so anything common, a Demon Cortex should fit. If you're around that size, you should be all right.
I saw Todd answered Guniak's question about the 12 blade versus the 9 blade, and that goes back to every other reason, the efficiency. It's just the best balance. I'm sure Freewing tested every single system, before they come down on one, and the 9 blade is just a perfect balance of efficiency and price, speed, everything. Everything's a factor, but you're gonna love those 9 blades. But I'm sure she'll fly fine on a 12 blade too if you want to bother with changing it out. But I always tell everybody, fly it as it is before you worry about doing anything. It was designed by people who know what they're doing. Don't immediately save your money there. Fly it. Enjoy it. You can always add if you want to, or take away, do whatever you got to do. But, it's a gorgeous aircraft that you just saw a full flight. What more are you going to get from, what more do you need? It's perfect.
Asking, why did we do a twin 80 millimeter EDF? Well, because we talked about at the top of the show, Freewing we've done twin 64 millimeter Soviet aircraft, Sukhois and MiGs, and we've done twin 70 millimeter Sukhois 10 years ago with the Su-35. So this time when we were going to make a new Soviet twin, we weren't going to do a 64 and a 70. We already have those. So we decided to do an 80. A lot of customers have asked for larger aircraft, and a twin 80 millimeter power system is ideal for a bigger airplane. The MiG-29 was a logical addition to our lineup. Also in the context of the 80 millimeter series. We started with the A10 and we started with the F-14 and then the A10. Those are two American aircraft. So multinational company, our European customer base is huge. So making a European aircraft or one that operates primarily in that theater, logical. So that's why we made Twin 80.
And also, Alpha with the Patrick was just saying that, because I said rather than like with an aircraft like this caters to a twin system because of the separation in the nozzle. Like you can't bifurcate, like one fan trying to get that much air out, right, would be hard in a jet like this versus, let's say, an F-18 where even in real life the engines would have been more close together. You could get away with one 90 millimeter fan and a split duct out the back, but for something like this, it just wouldn't work, right? With one fan.
Exactly. Yeah. With the MiG-29, the real aircraft it's really just two big engines attached to a lifting body wing. So there is no center fuselage, so to speak. It's why the upper deck is so large, because below the center line, there's nothing. There's no space for an EDF. The F-22, we can hide it. The 90 millimeter, we can hide it. So where optimal, we'll install a single 90, but this always needed to be a twin. We've done a MiG-29. Freewing did a MiG-29 over a decade ago, a twin 70. So to do another twin 70 just didn't make a lot of sense for us.
Cool. Anything you saw, Alex, as I was talking there? What stands out as added difficulties overcome? Josh, that's a good question, but Alpha's going to get into some design behind the scenes before we get out of here. What lights are on this plane? Caroline Tyler AC, you got wingtip lights and you got a nose gear light. So 3 lights on here, option. You have the blue box in there with more than enough ports if you wanted to add more or take more away, but you do have your nav lights and your bright nose light. So on a dust flight,
or plug it into the included board. Rick Nato's asking, do we offer a different scheme or a base gray? No, this is
not
the digital camo is water slide decals. So just like most of our water slide decal aircraft, most guys you're going to prime the airplane anyway. Just paint right over it. It's so
right over it, exactly.
That's it.
I saw somebody ask if we were going to have a tandem cockpit. No, because again, guys, you got to think this is all in one big mold. So to mold a whole new cockpit is making an entire new mold, and molds cost money. And for the amount of people who would worry about that, no, this was made for this. It's perfect as is. One pilot in there. That's all we're getting here. What size service? Vic, you keep asking about thrust vector. Get on Hobby Squawk, Vic. We don't know. Alpha will release everything when that thrust vector unit is ready. It is not ready yet. The plane is not here yet. It is when
one
it's
of the
time.
5 is who are gonna get it. So
you're gonna get there, and
Yeah, Jansen's asking.
The ESCs and batteries in parallel for more efficient flight time.
Jansen's asking, is this an indicator that we're going towards bigger aircraft? I just want to say this live as well, in case people don't read the chat. We've always said, everyone, we've always said something for everyone. That's one of my call phrases, right? 1, everything's coming, and 2, something for everyone. So today it's a big jet. It's Freewing's largest jet. Tomorrow, who knows? Over the past 12 months, we've done small little 3S Warbirds for $100. We've done this gargantuan airplane, an airliner. Who knows? We've brought in balsa, tanks, Bancroft boats. We now have Corrali, Kyosho, Tamiya on the website. So something for everyone.
Airbrushes.
Yeah, airbrush. But we got a lot.
Benchcraft glue. I mean, we want to be a full service hobby shop, and you got to be able to serve everybody. But
exactly.
I think again with Freewing, at least from my understanding of it, they will get as big as long as it's reasonable enough for your average person to transport it. You know what I mean? You get too big, and then you're only catering to a select few in the hobby who are dedicating trailer size. Like, at least with Freewing, every Freewing plane you could fit in your car, in a standard car, and go. With something like this, this might be the only one you bring to the field that day. You might not want to put other planes in your car, but this is going to fit in your car. You know, like you'll get it in there, wings removable, 4 screws, ribbon cable, wings pop off, and nose cone pops off, and you're good to go, you know, out the door. So it really comes down to those bigger style. Like I mean, Alpha, you would know more, but I don't see 105 or 120s coming out of Freewing because that's just a whole different realm. You know, that's the size there. Just
we jump into the next line of balsa aircraft and Black Horse. You know.
Yeah. And at that point, like, then it's like
about transport. So again, big aircraft, but remember, you're taking off 8 to 9 inches from the nose cone alone, which gets back to sort of an F-22's length. And with the wings off, when you're looking at the horizontal stab width, you know, it's bigger, guys, but it's not twice the size of an F-20. So where you're able to transport your current aircraft, assuming you have, 4 or 5 inches taller and 4 or 5 or 6 inches wider, maybe 5 or 6 inches longer, you're going to be able to fit this airplane.
Again, I transport in a standard minivan.
So you can go ahead and just download those dimensions and double check.
Yeah. But I fit it in a minivan, fully up, everything on it, just gear down, rest it on a blanket, you know, and it'll fit with the wings on, wings out. I put it on a plane stand in the side of the car, and wings right on top of each other. You know, not hard to transport at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we are bumping up
definitely, Jeff.
The threshold of too big to transport. So this will probably be the biggest one.
Jansen, look, there's carbons in here. The 6000s. Again, you're gonna see. We flew it on 6000s the other day. The Admiral 6000s aren't much bigger than this, and they're thinner than this, so they will 100% fit anywhere. I could put another one, you know, down in here if I want to. It's actually this goes over the top, but they all fit. You know, you could definitely fly it on a 6000, a 5100, anything Admiral makes. But I think the best flying where you're getting full everything, low weight, is on 2 4000s. And, you know, again, Patrick was being tame with it, but I think he landed at 3 minutes on the 2 4000s and still had 50% in his pack.
Yeah, I have 5 minutes twin 4000s. You know,
yeah, you could get 5 minutes on twin 4000s easy because, again, that efficient power system, the in-runners now, it's light for its size. You know, it's...
Gone is the 2.5-minute
awesome.
Myth of EDFs. We're past that.
Yeah, we're way past that. So I think, guys, that's a lot. Does the Admiral gyro receiver in your model? No, Dave, in this model, we were flying on a 10-channel Admiral with the satellite and a Hobby Eagle gyro we have tucked away underneath. But you could fly it on a Stability Plus because you just need 7 channels. You need the BEC, you need your aileron, your throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, flap, gear, BEC. So these 6-channel Stability Plus, the bind port becomes a 7th channel, and that's where you plug your BEC into. So you could use that. You know, that's all you need. But I think, guys, that'll do it for the questions. We're now pushing 115, so I want to get to this fun section where I didn't even get to see all these as Alpha sent us some pictures. So, Alpha, can you walk Alex through what we're about to see? This is, again, something that you don't get, I don't think, from anyone. Like, you know, we do these factory tours. We really want to show you behind-the-scenes stuff. So I asked Alpha, man, can you show us some of, like, the design, the stuff that was probably happened 2 years ago? You know, because that's about how long it takes for one of these to materialize in front of us. You know, and he was happy to oblige us. So, Alpha, take it away with a little bit of design behind the scenes.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Let's just we can drop any of these. This is just a bit of a teaser. In the past, people have seemed to like when we show a bit of the behind the scenes of what goes into designing this aircraft. In the finished product, we can see the outside. And so here's a quick view into the inside. This is from my drafting software that shows you, you know, what we do. That it's not just a block of foam. I'm always sort of fighting that notion that these are just foam airplanes. They're not. They're very well thought through multi-component aircraft, multi-material aircraft. You can see we have 2 spars in there, plastic joinery for the wing mounts. We see the digital servos there. The digital servos as well are removable. So we got the plastic boxes, which people seem to like. We can also see the open pathways for the wiring, so it's easy to fish wires in and out if you need to. The electric pin connector there. We also see in the upper right, closer towards the upper right area, the ESC. So the ESC is in the airflow of the duct. That's not uncommon. We always do that. It's just ahead of the EDF bay. But this is a view where the top part of the foam is obviously invisible. So we're seeing the bottom part of that foam. The fuselage is actually composed of about 20 different foam parts that are then interlocked and put together. William Decker is asking the project name. The MiG-29 was the project Pivot. Pivot because it's a play on Fulcrum. And also because at the time we had just done 2 American 80 millimeters, so we wanted to change that. In 2016, people were saying you're only making American aircraft, so we really wanted to change that and make something, make a European aircraft. So it was a pivot away from our current tack at the time. So this is project.
Just real quick, when you say pivot, I thought Fulcrum, but only because I saw it. I bet if we would have announced pivot a while ago, it still would have been the same as any other project name.
It's one of those things where in hindsight it makes sense. But it's not meant, and again, these are just names we use internally at the factory, so we can refer to aircraft without using their actual designations. So here's a great example. I highlighted the red areas here where we can see how we're able to accomplish twist and turning the retracts. Again, with the F-14, we didn't have space. We tried, but we didn't have space to do this. Because the wing box, the swing mechanism in the F-14 was sitting right exactly where the wheel needed to go. And so with this aircraft, we had the space, and we upscaled the airplane so that we could make sure that not only could we put in larger landing gear than aircraft we've used in the past, but that we could also twist and turn that retract, get it fully up, and again, spent the extra money and complexity to put in full coverage doors to clean up the airframe. And I think it's well worth it. I think it's well worth the effort. This is another shot showing you, again, with the bottom half, the bottom cover of the intakes invisible. So that's another separate piece. We see from left to right, we see that darker gray area is the plastic cap for the intake. So this is more a quality of life thing that we try to do where we can, especially for aircraft with low slung nacelles like this. The plastic capping will help resist any damage if you run into, hope you don't run into tall grass or dings or when you're moving the aircraft around. This will help keep the intakes nice and well shaped. And then we see again the layout for the undercarriage. Let's jump to the next one. Hey, Robert, it's okay. You need to work. Yeah, so this image now will show you. This is more the nose gear assembly. So there was a question earlier about if there's a door in the nose as well. This is one of those areas where we thought through we could probably have simplified this and just used a clear cover, left the hole there. But because it's our largest 80 millimeter Freewing jet to date, we really wanted to make it extra special. So we went with full coverage doors, not just on the mains, but also on the nose. And these use our simplified sprung mechanism, which a lot of people seem to like with some of our newer aircraft that utilize springs to open and close the doors rather than adding an additional servo. Now, I will say, because this came up earlier, the retract and the strut and all that, according to our math and our testing, you should not need to rely on the brace like the real aircraft. So that's a designed-in failure point. That'll snap first before your retract gets torn out. So we've taken a lot of feedback from the ME-262, which was designed initially over 10 years ago, and then 5 as well, which was designed years ago, to try and reinforce that. It's not reliant on cosmetic suspension or cosmetic reinforcing arms like the real aircraft. This photo, this red area, this is all one large piece of plastic. So again, evolving our design from aircraft to aircraft, the MiG puts a lot of load out on its, especially when you're doing high maneuver, high-speed acrobatics. So we made the servo box for the elevator even longer and even thicker, and as you can see, it actually curves up and forms a part of and forms a part of the burner can, the exhaust nozzle there. So that entire area, which is glued in and screwed in at the factory, helps to reinforce and keep the connection between your servo and your control arm nice and locked. And as James showed us earlier in the video, there's also a carbon tube that further reinforces the metal control arm. So really designed to be able to take what people are putting these aircraft through. I think, is that it, Alex? Or do we have one more? I think
you got this nice overall shot.
The overall shot, yeah, with the batteries in there.
That's pretty cool.
So I'll talk about this tight one, then we'll go overall. But you know, we can. Oh, there we go. That's fine. So this is a good view showing everyone what the aircraft looks just in general. You can see the servo layout, the internal wing box layout. Obviously, there's a lot of things here that you can't see for good reason. But the point of this, guys, is just to further demonstrate whenever we can. These aren't simple draw it and slap it together aircraft. We hope customers feel that these are engineered. We hope that they feel that the experience they get out of them is an experience that we've curated for them. How the aircraft flies, to get an aircraft of this size with two T-33 in-runner power systems that weighs less than two T-33s, how does that happen? It's not by accident. So that's the P&P as it arrives, and that's what people should come to expect from us in Motion RC. Now, in future, the other nice thing that we try to do where possible is think about the upgrade path for the aircraft. So this photo will show you a bit what we're planning. Again, this is not in the PNP, but jump into Hobby Squawk, guys. We are going to be talking over the next 4 to 6 weeks and showing more information about not just the 3D thrust vectoring power system, power set, which is optional for customers to purchase after the PNP and install themselves, but also other upgrades such as scale air brakes. This system was originally designed for the aircraft, and then for numerous reasons we decided to remove it. But we still have the ability, through the beauty of 3D printing, to make these types of upgrades available to people who did want to pour more money into their airplanes. For the majority, the PNP, any PNP we produce, is exactly as we want it and exactly as we love it. But we recognize that there are people out there who are probably going to spend a lot of time trying to draft and make their own upgrades. So where we can make those sort of things available for you, same thing we've done for the B-24 and the Mirage and the F-4 and many other aircraft with their own 3D PUP or 3D printed upgraded part sets. We'll have a couple of those available for the MiG-29 as well. I will say, because we're still early days on this type of stuff, let us know in Hobby Squawk what you're looking for. That may be something we can add into our team's production, later in the future. This is surprise.
Sounds good. Oh, did
Alpha?
we lose him there?
Alpha?
Right at the tail end?
Oh, they got him.
They got him. They got him.
Oh, man.
They got him. Well, I think he was wrapping up the design behind the scenes anyway. I mean, that stuff, man, I was just silent watching that. I learned as you guys learned. That's what I love Alpha for. Sorry, my earbud keeps falling out. That's what we love him for, because I don't think there's another company in this industry who gives you that sort of level of detail. And he's more than happy to do it. He's in there. Oh, is he back?
Oh.
I'm back. I'm
okay,
back.
He's back. So I was just, talking you up and telling you to stop talking, actually. No, just kidding. This video is going long. But no, that's awesome. Thank you so much for allowing, for sharing that with everybody. I'm sure I speak for everybody. That's just interesting stuff, man. And, again, like, as somebody who doesn't design these things, has no, you don't want me designing these things. It still upsets, it upsets everybody when you see people out there, oh, they're just this, or they're just foam. And it's like, you don't even understand. Like, you don't understand. That's why we did the factory tour video. Like, a lot of effort, a lot of people, put a lot of time and effort into making what is essentially an adult toy for us to have fun with. There's a lot of love and care, and we hope you guys, appreciate that in your models. And that's why, so many of us, pre-flight check everything and make it awesome. Imagine trying to build this from scratch. I wouldn't even know where to start, and most of us probably wouldn't. The fact that there are people out there doing this, and is unbelievable, and to see stuff like that is really cool.
Absolutely. So if customers or any of you watching are interested in seeing more sort of behind the scenes stuff,
oh yeah,
let us know. We're thinking about adding an additional component to this show. May happen at a different time for me, but if people are interested in sort of sitting live with me and watching some of our design process and asking questions, that's something that we would be open to doing. So let us know in the comments.
It's hang out with Alpha for an
Alpha.
hour and just watch him mess around on the computer and come up with crazy skunkworks type stuff.
Eric
exactly.
Guardian said best day of 2020 so far.
We think people would dig that. What did somebody say? What did he say?
Eric Guardian said best day of 2020 so far.
Best day of 2020 so far. Yes, 2020 bringing,
Well, we still got.
a lot,
So we'll see what we can.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, if you're interested in that, leave a comment. When this video ends, obviously come back, guys. We want to thank everybody so much. I guess we go to the closing here for joining us today. We hope it was worth your while. We hope we answered all your questions, and if we didn't, get on Hobby Squawk. Go to the comment section of this video. Once it's over, it will replay. You can go back and check everything in here, and then we're going to have more and more videos coming as we lead up to the eventual arrival of your MiG-29s in a couple weeks. But it's unbelievable. I was shocked when I got it. I obviously I'd seen pictures beforehand, but it's nothing like when you see it in front of you and to just marvel at it, compared to the other things. Alex can't wait to chase it, and I wasn't letting him put his drone anywhere near it yet until this was done. But we're going to be doing that. We're going to have some fun with it. So, Alpha, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Do you have some parting words here on this beauty again?
Something for everyone, everybody. Something for everyone.
Something
Like
for
this video.
everyone.
There's 600 of us on here, so like the video. But there's always something for everyone at Motion RC.
Yes, and speaking of that, remember, we were doing the MiG-29 a couple weeks ago leading to this, the Su-30. There were hints dropped. We're always dropping hints on what's next, and this video does include a hint on what's next. So if you want to go back and rewatch the whole thing, it's in there. Nice Easter egg. So we're always dropping Easter eggs. Like with the boats, people didn't even realize the Hobby Squawk logo changed to a boat.
Airplane in the video.
There's always something to hide. So anyway, guys, that'll about do it for us. So again, everything's coming. All the information's out there now. Product pages are live. Pre-order is live in both .com and .eu. And again, arrival times, guys. Remember, it's COVID. All of our estimated arrival times are projected, but they're on the way. So they're on the water, and when they get there, you guys are going to be happy. You'll be flying them in 2020, that's for sure. So that'll do it for us. Again, one more time to thank all of you for joining us. Thank Alpha, thank Alex for all the hard work behind the camera. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. And as always, we'll be back here next Friday with something else and probably more flying of this, because I think that's all we're going to do next week is get this bad boy out and get some more crazy flying on there. But thank you so much for joining. Get yourself a Freewing Twin 80 MiG-29, and we'll see you next time at Motion RC.